Welcome to DMF. I'm Justin Yance. This is part one. Okay, I have a guest with me today. I have Paul Todisco. He is a writer, a director, filmmaker, a producer. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing really good. How are you, Justin?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm excited to do this. So, one of the things I noticed in your films is that they have this feel of suburbia. So, I'm curious, where did you grow up?
Oh, I grew up in suburbia. Big
That's what I
surprise. Yeah.
thought.
Very small town, North Syracuse, New York. So,
Hmm.
although Syracuse is, a good mid-sized city, North Syracuse is a small suburb. And back then, too, like in the 80s, everything, it just felt very isolating.
Yeah.
Like I'm not connected to the world. I guess in the 80s, I mean, there's no internet. Syracuse hadn't grown yet. It's grown into a little bit of a different animal now. Um, there's a better downtown. There's more cultural opportunities. There's more of a filmmaking presence there now. There was none at
Hmm.
all when I was growing up, and it just felt very confining and disconnected from the rest of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's kind of what I gathered from some of your films. I was like, I imagine some of this is autobiographical. Did you have like what what inspired you to get into filmmaking?
Just wow. I just caught the bug, ever since I
Yeah.
was probably 9 or 10. I really didn't know what a director was at that time.
Yeah.
Again, it was a different time. It wasn't, the word DVDs didn't exist. You couldn't watch extras about how to direct it, any of those things. Um, so I felt like I wanted to tell stories. So I was obsessed with reading and Stephen King and this and that. And with films.
Hmm.
So I said, oh, I want to be a writer,
Yeah.
like a novel writer. And then by the time I hit between 12 and 14 is when I started to really realize, oh, wow, Steven Spielberg's name is on all these great films that I love. Poltergeist, E.T., Raiders of
Yeah.
the Lost Ark, Close Encounters. And, there's the director. What does the director do? And immediately I was like, oh, that's it. That's what I want to do. I want to direct.
Did you come from a family that supported the arts?
Very supportive parents in general, just supportive people. And yes, they understood the value of all kind of a rounded education. So the arts, sciences, doing what, they
Yeah.
expected me to do, and I did. I mean, they expected me to do well in every subject. But
Yeah.
yes, they whatever little culture was in Syracuse was very minimal. But my dad and my mom would take me to it. So we would go to the symphony once in a while. And I'm classically trained. I'm a classical pianist, and I started when
Oh,
I was
really?
5, taking lessons from an incredible, really wonderful teacher. So really had great training. Patricia De Angelis and her husband Tony is also a cellist in the Syracuse Symphony. So I did kind of grow up under that umbrella of the arts a bit. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I play the piano as well, so I can
Ooh, really?
understand. Yeah. So
Do you have?
that's cool. I'm more singing and playing, which is kind of a different, way of playing the piano, but but that's
Mhm.
cool.
That's
So
fun too. Yes. Yeah.
what led you to piano? I'm just curious.
I guess when I was 4, I had a toy piano, and I guess according to the story, I guess
Yeah.
I do remember the piano. I remember it, but I guess I played it constantly, and I would imitate TV theme songs on it. And so my parents were like, "Wow, this 4-year-old's playing the things he hears." So they asked me. I don't remember this, but they asked me, "Would you like to play piano, real piano?" And apparently I was all over it. Yes, yes. And so we got a piano and lessons, and that's how it started.
So you could play by ear.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's
Wow.
always been something I can do pretty easily.
Wow. So what is about Stephen King that really resonated with you?
Well,
Kind of
that's
going
interesting
back
because
to
it comes around with Devil's Whisper, right? And
Yeah.
I also write a lot of horror films right now for Indonesia, an Indonesian film company. You might have seen it on my IMDb. About 10
Yeah.
features and a 10-episode TV series, all horror. And again, another bug that I caught. I think and I know now that I've analyzed, why did I love it so much? horror. It was the fantasy element within it, the acknowledgement that there's something beyond the reality that we live in. There's a supernatural element. And that was like Poltergeist. When I was 12, that was my favorite movie of all time. Poltergeist, I just loved it. And Close Encounters was also in my top three, and that also means there's more to the world and the universe than what we think. There are probably beings in other dimensions, there's beings on other planets, and all that kind of stuff really hit me, and for whatever reason. And so, yeah.
Do you think it was kind of like the breaking of the mundane? Like you said, you were in Syracuse and there wasn't a lot of different, and it's just like that, thing. I can remember I went to a Christian school and, I didn't really consider myself really religious, but I just can remember being in chapel and just being like imagining something happening, out of the ordinary.
Yes.
Just to break that, mold.
Yes, Justin, I would say that I was desperate for something to break out of the daily routine of boredom, and I had a supernatural experience when I was like 6, and I think that defined a lot of things. Also, I saw a ghost, and it was just a completely real, completely believable experience. And my sister witnessed it also the same night. And we've never seen anything since like that ever. And she saw the exact same thing. And so it kind of slapped me a little bit and was like, yes, there is magic out there. And then I'd read horror books. I'm like, yes, I understand this. I know that this can be real. Yeah. I just don't understand. No one knows what exactly it is, but there is something more going on.
Interesting. Did it say anything to you?
No, it just stood in my doorway and was, just a transparent light object. And I was too young and scared to really do much. So I didn't feel like it was a lot of times with experiences like this, people say the important thing is how did it feel? Because the feeling you got from the entity is the most important datum of the experience, right? So it felt like it was checking up on me, nothing aggressive, checking in, checking up. And so I became real obsessed with it as an elementary school kid. And I would talk to my best friend, Michelle, all about it every day. And she was into it. Oh, maybe we'll see the ghost tonight. Maybe we'll see the ghost. But so it was an excitement thing. In the moment, it was frightening a little bit, but it was an excitement. And so I would say that. And then when I was 18, I was telling the story to my college roommate, one of my best friends. And it all hit me. I was like, wait a minute. That was right around when our beloved family friend, Dr. Capps, died of cancer. And he was the one who delivered me and my sister into the world. He was the doctor that birthed us. And he loved us and we were all close. And I just never put it together until I was 18. I'm like, I'm not saying that's definitely the answer, but it feels right. So anyway, that was that experience.
Interesting. I'm curious, what films did you like as a kid? Like what like inspired you? You mentioned Poltergeist.
Yeah. Well, I would say Close Encounters was the first mind-blowing experience that I had with any work of art or entertainment. And I just could not think of anything else. It was just so piercing. Like it just spoke right into my soul. And look at what it's about. It's about a man who is stuck in suburbia and he's not really in the life that is meant for him. If you believe in destiny, he does have a calling. There is a higher calling that comes in. So it has a very mystical allegory to it. And his higher calling really, even before that comes, he's in a situation that he doesn't seem suited for. Like he doesn't seem like he's excited about being a father. He's still an overgrown child. He wants to go watch Pinocchio and he doesn't care what the kids think. And he's kind of arguing with his wife and he's in a suburban, environment that doesn't nurture his soul. And I don't know, I was a little kid, but all of it just resonated with me. And then the higher calling and then going off on this adventure that takes you to completely new worlds and new possibilities. And that was a big one. That was the one that really got me. Like movies are my obsession.
So the subconscious kind of like picked up on that in some ways of like this, this longing for adventure
For
that is
adventure,
happening.
for something that is not part of everyday ordinary reality.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious, what artist inspired you?
All throughout my life, or as a
Yeah, yeah, I'm curious because I, from watching your films, I can see. I'm like, okay, this is somebody who looks at art. You know,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
there's the scene in One Day Like Rain where you've got he's sitting on the bench with the dog, and
Oh
there's
yeah.
where the cars are going by, and I was like, okay, that's like right out of a painting.
Yes.
So
That almost has a bit of a Edward Hopper-ish kind of, like just
yeah,
the framing itself. But even though he wasn't, I wouldn't call him a major inspiration. But no, I love Bouguereau, the painter, the
mm,
French painter, one of my all-time favorites. Van Gogh just is mind-blowing to me. Just he captures that mystical divine fire that is actually inside of everything, inside of nature, inside the sky. And that's
yeah,
how it looks. Like that's how it actually looks. Um, I and Sally Mann, the photographer,
mm,
love her work, and that was an influence. Again, she's very much connected to nature, the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia, that area. Um, I love Mary Ellen Mark, the photographer. Oh, okay. Um, Hold on one second. I'm so sorry.
oh
Just
no, it's
there's
fun.
something, yeah, the maintenance. I just have to, I didn't know they would come.
Oh, no, don't worry. Yeah.
I'm recording a podcast, but you're welcome to come in. I'll do whatever you like. Thanks. Thanks.
Right?
Yeah, right in there.
It might be a little noisy, but it's not too crazy.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, I didn't
Okay.
expect that to happen. So much
No, no,
later.
it's okay. What's going on?
Just unclogging my sink.
Ah, yeah, happens to all of us.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah,
so
so
yeah,
artists, painters, yeah, I love fine. I love paintings, I love photography, and literature, and I mean, there's so much great inspired stuff out there. Music.
yeah. I think it's especially in directing, it's good to have that art background because you're able to see things in a different way and paint, almost paint a picture. And the thing that just stood right out to me was One Day Like that shot. I was like, oh, that's great. I love it.
Yes, some of the compositions in these paintings is
Yeah.
genius. It's just, and the way that the light plays with it, like what they do with light, it's
Yeah.
just, how could you not just rip it off? It's too
They're
good.
doing
It's
they're
too good.
doing they're doing film without a camera in some
Yeah,
ways.
yeah, yeah. Right. And I like filmmakers that really draw from the classical painting
Yeah.
styles, like Peter Greenaway, where it's all
Mm.
over the place. That's what he does. So I do enjoy that kind of thing, but I wouldn't say that I go to those degrees. I try to just feel it out and make it mine, but I'm inspired
Yeah.
by certain
But
paintings.
it's in there. Yeah.
Mhm.
I can see it. No, I, yeah, you're right. Then it kind of becomes pretentious if you're like trying to, unless you're doing like, Mr. Turner or something, and you're doing a piece. So then you could actually paint the whole film like a painting.
Yeah,
But
or like Andrei
yeah.
Rublev, that film by Tarkovsky
Mm,
about the Russian icon painter, Andrei
yeah.
Rublev. And so you can draw on that imagery if you wanted to.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.